I wanted to join Lauren in the company after we had discussed different ideas over one summer. And when she started talking about water catchment and rainwater harvesting, we just kind of knew that that was the right idea. That's what we had been looking for. My qualifications are I went to school for resource management and have been running different garden nurseries off and on since college. I also did a lot of research on rainwater harvesting and storage when I wanted to move to Hawaii to live off grid to work with invasive species. The greatest strength that I think I bring is my strong customer service background. I've been working with people for over 30 years and I think that it definitely shows. Another strength that I have is that I've been helping to start and run and manage new companies pretty much since college also, so that kind of helps out here. I think we both realized that the idea, dream, whatnot of the company was coming true when it hit the 1 year mark, official 1 year mark, and we realized it had been a year and we could actually start maybe hiring employees and moving forward, and all of our hard work had started paying off. So I'd say that's definitely it. I'm motivated by being able to educate the public, whether it's on what plants they should be growing in the area, what plants they shouldn't be growing, and then how they can conserve, store, harvest rainwater, and just be more thoughtful of the water usage that they have. A lot of people don't realize that they can save rainwater and that they can use that rainwater and that it doesn't just have to go into the ground. I see the company being highly successful with a lot of growth, even more employees, and just being able once again to educate the public. And whether we do that through governmental agencies or we do that on our own or however we do it, as long as people know that we're out there and that we're here to help them conserve their water, that's where I hope we are in 5 years.
Well, I didn't really set out to start a company. I set out to solve a problem, and that was making water sustainable and making it so that my home could be net zero on water and energy, and I could continue to live in this beautiful mountain location in New Mexico. And I looked for help, and there was not really anybody out there who could help me. And by the time I'd spent 5 years designing and building my systems, I figured I could help other people do the same. And I tried to get plugged in, and there was nowhere to get plugged in. So it ended up being that starting a company was going to be the way that I could bring solutions to others in the East Mountains. Well, the short-term goal has been starting a company, which wasn't necessarily the long-term goal. The long-term goal has been solving the problem of sustainable water in the arid Southwest. And the biggest challenges starting a company, there have been so many. Which ones are the biggest? Insurance has been a pain in the neck. And figuring out exactly what we wanted to do. What we thought we were going to do when we started isn't necessarily what we're doing today. We've come a long way, and so over-engineering in the beginning with doing all sorts of marketing materials and write-ups for things that we never even did anything with. So learning to fail faster rather than spending a whole lot of time on an idea up front, test out that idea and move on faster, and learning that lesson. Yeah, steps. It started as an idea. I went to some conferences and some trade shows, talked to other people who may have done similar work in the past to figure out what a company would look like and what I would need to do to work in rainwater and work in gray water. And then it was doodles, and you think about starting a company, and it's, well, what's the name, and circling around the name, but then you have to make sure that name's not already taken and that there's a domain available that can match it. So even just to print the business cards, well, I need an email, so I need that domain, and I need a phone number, so I need a phone plan. And I wanted to put a QR code on there, so I needed a website. So nothing is just one thing. There were 3 different things I had to do before anything else got started. So even just getting to that point, creating the LLC, getting the tax IDs, getting the website and everything, that was a lot of time and effort into things that weren't necessarily what I wanted to be focusing on, but some of them were fun. Getting to pick colors and logos and things, and then you have a company, at least on paper. From there, it was figuring out what we were going to do and getting customers that became the bigger challenge. Starting a business is not easy. If anyone says it's easy, they're not doing all of the things that you have to do to start a company correctly and completely. Probably the best thing that's happened starting the company was Nicole joining me. If I had been doing it by myself, I would have quit a long time ago or lost my mind. There are things I would do differently. I think at the beginning I was over-engineering solutions and spending too much time on ideas that I hadn't tested out yet. They say to fail quickly and try ideas and move on if they're not going to work, and I spent probably too much time deep diving into some ideas, but maybe it was a necessary part of the process to figure out they weren't going to work after I did the deep dive. Other ideas I didn't test out and I should have, so finding that balance between how much testing and how much real world I needed to do to get started. Oh, happiest about starting the company has been, I was already working from home and actually getting out a little bit more, and putting shovels in the ground and feeling like I'm starting to make a difference in a very small corner of the planet to make it a better place. What do I want potential clients to know about me? I guess that I'm not a typical contractor trying to make money. We're on a mission, and it's an environmental and social mission to make living in New Mexico sustainable and affordable, and to bring quality water so that we can continue to live here. And so that mission is really what's driving us, creativity and enjoying design. And if I can manage to make a living, then we'll keep doing it. What strengths? Oh, let's see. Today I'm feeling creative and determined and dedicated. Ask me tomorrow and they might be different, but every day is a little bit different, and the strengths I need to summon change. But we're resilient and we can overcome challenges, and we're passionate, so we can love what we're doing, which gives us the desire to overcome those challenges. How much time and effort? I have had to invest about 2 years worth of full-time time and effort just to get things started. And there was part-time effort before that. But when I was working full-time in a corporate job, I really didn't have the bandwidth to start thinking through what Cactus Rain was really going to need to get going. So from the time I left my job, it's been 2 years of nonstop time and effort so far without a paycheck. And so if anyone doesn't have all of the 2 years of time and money, I don't know how they start a business. Anyone who's doing it on the side, props to you, because I couldn't do it. I needed my full-time attention. When did I realize it's coming true? every day I'm still not entirely sure that it is, but I think there have been a few milestones along the way that helped realize it was really coming true. Getting that first print of business cards and rack cards and flyers that had my logo at the top and my website at the bottom. I think the first cold phone call from out in the universe of someone saying that they'd found our company and were interested in purchasing our services was a moment of, hey, this is actually happening. This dream might be coming true. And then the first paying customer, that first dollar that goes on the wall. Mine was a check and it went in the bank. And then about a year in, when we realized we were ramping up and we were starting to take on full-scale installations and hiring employees, there was a big moment of, we're making this happen. This dream is coming true. And then I go to sleep and I dream it all over again and have to check the next day and make sure that, is this the right dream? And are we doing the right things? And stay the course. Preparing to begin thinking about it was 10 years probably that this idea has been percolating. And then about 1 year of thinking very seriously about actually leaving a secure job and a salary to start the adventure. And then once that decision was made, it was about a month before I actually was able to, leave the job and start filing paperwork, and then it was off to the races. Oh, when I was thinking about who my customers would be and the demographics of the state, I think I really have two different markets. There's the DIYers and the do-it-for-me's. And so coming up with two different solutions for those two different audiences has been important for launching the company. For DIYers, we have kits that we can help them with, and then the do-it-for-yous were even actually harder because we had to have every step of that process figured out for them, and that's one we're still working through. I think my success has been helped by support of family and friends, as they say, but also a single-minded determination not to fail. I think that it's also the right idea at the right time, and that has been the most important thing to success, is that this work is actually needed, and so there's been a market for it. Oh, well, what advice would I give someone else? Let's see, the advice I would give someone else for starting a business, not to be snarky, don't. I think if I realized everything that was going to go into it, I might not have taken this path, at least not right away. I would have tried longer to find a place to plug in with someone else and get more background, more experience, more exposure before trying to go out on my own. The problem I had was that there was no one here in New Mexico doing what needed to be done. So I had to start my own. If you want to start a business in this field, hey, come work with me for a few years first, and we'll get you going. If you want to start in another field, that's my best advice, is take the time to get experience and benefit from someone else's paving that path in front of you. If you're making your own path, a business that doesn't exist currently, it's hard to insure. And it's hard to get things. Even getting your federal tax ID number, there was no box for me. So I didn't fit into a box. I'm carving a new path. It'll be great once it's all done, but it's been very, very difficult to get started. I'm motivated by a sense of accomplishment. If I feel like I've gotten something done, if I've been productive, made a valuable contribution. That's what motivates me. In 5 years, I would love to be the rainwater people, the tank people, the gray water people. I would love to have gray water be more normalized and mainstream. And I would love to be expanding into other passive strategies and sustainable building, add on solar greenhouses and other things to make our existing buildings more livable, more comfortable, and more regenerative for the world we live in. What does Nicole do? Nicole keeps me sane. She reminds me to drink water. Sometimes she hands me food. Nicole is great at customer service, and I don't always have the patience to sit down and talk through things when I've got other places I need to be and other things I need to do. And Nicole seems to always have that patience to explain things multiple times sometimes. And since we do have the mission of education, that's a really important part of what we're doing. Nicole does not do math, so don't ask. But Nicole does nature things. We're both plant ladies, but she's definitely a lot more formally educated on it than I am, so I can ask her, hey, what's this plant and how much water does it need? And then I can do the math and make a spreadsheet out of that. Nicole makes sure that I'm focused on the most important things we need to be doing, because sometimes I can go down a rabbit hole, and so she'll pull me out of the rabbit holes. Again, Nicole does nature items. Oscar's role in the company is taking conference calls, so any videoing, Oscar has to be there. We do video chats with our customers because they might be far away for the initial intake, and Oscar is almost always in the video calls. He is a great icebreaker with the customers who will often say, oh, I've seen a cat or a dog on screen, but never a parrot. And some people ask what kind of bird he is, and occasionally someone already knows. So for those out there, he's a Quaker, also known as a monk parakeet. And they do this little head bob. And yes, he bites sometimes, but he usually just wants to be hanging out wherever I am. That's where he wants to be. Did your colors? Yeah, you're the same color as the logo. Did you know that? I don't know if I did that on purpose. It might just be because green's my favorite color, and I happen to have a green bird because most birds come in that color. The blue and yellow birds are actually just green birds that have been genetically modified and bred to get the yellow out to make a blue bird, or the blue out to get a yellow bird, but in the wild they're all green. I think green signifies comfort. Are you still? Mm-hmm. Green signifies comfort. It's home, it's food, it's shelter. Green is a happy color. What services did we offer? When we started, we thought that we would mostly be doing education. We would go find out all the ways that people were using water and give them a detailed report about what they could do to save more water, and also do designs for systems that people would want to system, and we would design it. But the obvious next question was, who puts it in? And that has been the thing that the market told us that it really wanted. It didn't want consulting and it didn't want designs. It wanted installation. It wanted the whole thing put in end to end. So we've become plumbers and electricians and excavators, and we've hired licensed partners for many of those tasks. But the amount of plumbing education I've received in the last year is not what I thought I would be doing when I started out. I thought it would be a lot more on the design side, and it's ended up being a lot more on the implementation side. I think offering education service was not a good return on time. We spent hours, days, creating reports for people in detail, and so not very cost effective use of time. But the biggest reason it didn't work out is that most people said they were confused and overwhelmed by the amount of information that we were providing. And so I took that to heart, as that I was talking at an audience that didn't want to be receiving a master's degree in water sciences and rainwater harvesting and greywater recycling. They wanted a much more practical instruction of what to do. We're still involved in education, and that's still part of our mission. Whenever we're going on consultations, there's still lots of information that we're providing, just not in formal reports as a product that we're selling. And I'm still involved in going to conferences and the Next Generation Water Summit in Santa Fe, and making videos for the internet. The internet is where the videos live. I had to hire a young person for that. So there are still ways that we're absolutely day in and day out, outreach and education is still part of our mission.